Hello, my name is Nathaniel Harrison, and I'm reporting to you on the scene of America's Appealing AM News. Today is Wednesday, July 28th, 2016. Today's weather here in Seattle is high of 76 degrees and lows at 72 degrees. Partly cloudy, winds up to 6 miles per hour, and humidity is at 42%. And now, today's history with your host, Angela.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Good afternoon. I'm Angela, and today's headlines are about the 102nd celebration of a historic event. This day, 102 years ago, was the start of something big. World War I. It started on July 28, 1914, and ended on November 11, 1918. So why discuss some old news? I mean, the past is past, but why bring it up for today's top headlines? Well, because that same war is what changed America from what it was then to what it is today. Many famous events were so drastically affected by World War I. Some main controversies were economic changes, migration, women, ammunition, farming, and constitutional rights. Out of all these 6 major topics, the subject matter upon women and migration was prominent. Before World War I, around early 1900s, women, depending on their class, were expected to work jobs such as domestic services, factories, making clothes, or shop work. Many women worked as sales clerks or laundry work. Middle-class women worked jobs like being a teacher, nurse, library work, secretaries, typists, telephonists, telegraphists, or doctors. Married women would usually quit their jobs unless they were too poor. Married women would then focus on cleaning the household, taking care of the kids, and the husband. Paris was the leader of the fashion industry before World War I started. American women looked upon French designers for direction and guidance. Paris and other European countries would export their consumer goods and supplies to the U.S. at the time. Women were not allowed to vote because people believed that women were unintelligent when it came to making political decisions. Women were also not allowed to vote because men thought that women would become emotional during stress times. Men believed it was best if women were to just stay home and do daily chores. During the time of World War I, women were very active. They helped injured soldiers while also keeping themselves and children safe and protected from danger. Women took over most of the male jobs, earning the respect of men. They worked as nurses, administrative work, drivers, and farmers. Women also took part in joining the Red Cross and the military. A new image of freedom and self-respect led women away from traditional gender roles. When Paris was unable to perform tasks for America, New York decided to finally step up their game and take over the fashion industry. Women began to wear Edwardian silhouettes. Women stopped wearing lots of jewelry, they wore more of a military look instead, and the use of color became quote-unquote sober and muted. After the war, women had proved that their hard work and dedication to the country had earned them equal rights. One of these rights were to vote, so the 19th Amendment was created. The 19th Amendment to the United States provided men and women with equal voting rights. The amendment states that the right of citizens to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. Women had been granted with a closer step to equality. Women's fashion sense also changed. Skirts became shorter and the birth of trench coats began. Many clothing types changed after World War I. One example was the bathing suits. Back then, bathing suits were dress-like and covered up. Today, the one-piece bathing suit was introduced to society and women started to use it. It was less about the ability to swim and more about showing skin. Another example would be how famous brands like Coco Chanel and Maybelline developed after the war. It made women feel more acceptable and helped them blend in with society. Years after the war, women started to work more. Employment rates grew and workplaces became a unisex environment. About 50% of women stopped becoming housewives and put their hard work to use. The amount of nurses, doctors, teachers, and even military-related workers doubled. When immigrants first arrived to the U.S., they stayed in rural areas with a lot of land and place for farming. As World War I progressed, things changed, however. Before the war, many immigrants settled in rural areas. They wanted a spacious environment to live in and potentially start a family. Therefore, most immigrants became farmers. Everyone worked on the farm, providing food for themselves and others. Farmers could also sell their food for money. Farming was a big part of the trading industry due to migration. During the war, farmers were quickly giving their food away, resulting in crops decreasing in numbers. Some farmers had to give up their land due to the fact that they were low on food. Without food, there is no money, and without money, there's loss. Not only was their land lost, but farmers were unable to take care of families because of the lack of crops. They then migrated to suburban areas. After the war, settlers moved into more urban areas. There, they were able to get jobs and provide for the family. In some urban areas, overpopulation became a problem. Most of the overpopulated areas were of those in a poor class. Those people were usually immigrants. Tenants and slums were created, and it was up to the government to fix. In conclusion, World War I wasn't just about the fighting, it was about the change for the nation. Just a little trip down memory lane to refresh what we here at America's appealing AM News like to celebrate. I'm NJA, and this concludes our history segment. Back to you, Nathaniel.